Hello everyone, and welcome back to the first 2022 edition of The Pulse. I am your host Connor Sundet, and on behalf of myself and the team here at Spokane Talks, we are very happy to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back after this.
This is Doomsday in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Doomsday.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Doomsday wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
At Wendell, you are respected, you are valued, and we have an experience tailored to fit your lifestyle.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Gina.
And we bought 3 cars from Wendell Motors. Throughout the day, I just kind of would get updates, texts, phone calls, and I was actually really impressed with how my wife was taken care of.
People should shop at Wendell because they make you feel like family.
For your tailored experience, come see us at Wendell at the Y or Wendell.com.
What happens when you pay your ABC membership?
We're glad you asked.
We educate the future workforce.
We keep you safe.
Negotiate the best insurance rates.
Organize networking events.
Implement 401k programs.
To keep our members open shop.
Offer discounts to make you profitable.
Each path to success is different.
But they all start and go through ABC.
We are ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors of the Inland Pacific.
Where all the best builders and contractors locally unite.
When building a home or considering a major remodel, who are you going to choose? The Spokane Home Builders Association is an organization that works to elevate professionalism in the residential construction industry. We promote, protect, and educate for our community, building our community one home at a time. We are the Spokane Home Builders Association.
What's up, Spokane? I'm your host Connor Sundet, here to keep you up to date on all things in our wonderful city. First, if you haven't already, make sure you get out to Cheapskate Tuesdays at the Numerica Skate Ribbon every Tuesday. Rentals are free as long as you pay the $6 admission fee, which is a steal compared to the normal rates, which start at $8, and rentals on top of that. Hours will vary depending on the weather, but going between 1 and 8 p.m. should be fairly safe for the most part. If you're looking for a more exciting ice skating experience, I recommend coming out to the skate ribbon on Friday nights for DJ Night on Ice. Each Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., the skate ribbon will have a DJ for music, lights, and different contests. Whether you're looking for a cheap or exciting time, the skate ribbon has it all. So come out and enjoy some time on the ice with friends and family. Remember, this event only lasts until February 22nd, so get out to the ribbon before the season ends. Next, make sure you reserve a spot at the Grand Terrace Igloo package at the Davenport Hotel. Through the month of March, they're offering exclusive packages where there's 6 outdoor glass igloos for an evening of hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and the impressive Spokane skyline view. Packages range between $250 and $300 and have different benefits depending on which ones you decide. I think it sounds like a fun way to spend an evening with a few friends and a great way to admire the snow's beauty without getting frostbite. And that's what's up, Spokane. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back after this.
Contact Contact us today to learn how PowerView automation makes everyday living effortless.
Why are housing prices going up so fast in the Spokane area? Hello, I'm Darren Watkins with the Spokane Association of Realtors. It's a simple case of supply and demand. Since 2010, we have seen the number of available homes on the market fall dramatically, from 2,348 in January of 2010 to only 164 per month in 2021. That's a 94% reduction in our housing supply. The result? Housing prices began to climb rapidly in 2015, with a median home price in Spokane County of $179,000. That same home today would cost you $380,000. That is, if you can even find a home to buy.
For the last, I'd say at least 10 to 15 years, I think we've been underbuilding. We've seen this crisis coming, and nothing's being done to fix it.
There are no homes to purchase. When there is a home that comes up that buyers like, you're up against 20 plus other buyers who are making an offer on the same house.
Adding to the crisis, thousands of families are fleeing major West Coast cities such as Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles. Among the top destinations, Spokane, Washington.
When you talk about an out-of-town buyer, they've sold that home in a coastal market, let's say, a Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, take your pick, for $1.5 million, and they come to Spokane and can replace that thing and be in a nicer home for $500,000.
When there are 20 plus offers on a property that they feel like they don't have a chance. So now they're having to look at homes far lower than they're even qualified for because they have to compete with cash deals or something that goes so much further over the list price, and it's extremely defeating for clients.
The answer is clear. We need more homes immediately, especially for entry-level workforce housing. Every day that we wait, those costs are just going to keep going up and up.
First, join us with Kent as he talks with Kate Hudson about what events are going on downtown this month. Take a look.
Well, welcome to the Pulse of Spokane 2022. That seems like hard to say. We're all getting used to that. I remember back to the days when we wrote checks and we wrote for the next year in January. I swear most of the checks were written with the date of the previous year. We don't write checks anymore, so we solved the problem, maybe. It's the first Friday coming up. That means a lot going on in Spokane for this month. We have Kate Hudson from Business Spokane here next on the Pulse of Spokane.
Spokane Realtors are dedicated to helping you find the right place to live. We're more than 2,000 strong, small business men and women guiding you through this most important purchase. We're also your neighbors, giving back thousands in volunteer hours to make our community a better place. We believe owning a home helps you live longer, with stronger families and better neighborhoods. That's who we are, ready to help you find your way home. Call one today.
Well, welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. I guess I should be paying attention to the director anyway. Kate Hudson, good to see you. Haven't seen you since last year, and you knew I'd say that, didn't you? Okay.
The first joke.
Yeah.
2022
yeah.
on the Pulse.
It's funny. The funniest part was that when we first started, I couldn't remember your name.
I know.
What is it for some of the obvious things that you forget, and then you remember the minute little things that?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like you wear spikes when you run on the ice.
Yes.
Things like that. And I thought all along that was to keep bad people away, but it's to keep from falling on the ice. You did 800 miles last year.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
When are you going to reach 1,000?
I'm hoping to run 1,000 miles this year.
Okay. And you mentioned before we started, the only time you really didn't run outside was during the heavy smoke time.
Yes.
Which is probably good not to inhale that. It's not even good to walk outside, much less run.
Yep.
So.
Stay inside on those smoky days, which is disappointing.
So we will expect, since you come back every month, a report on where you are toward the 1,000, okay?
I will let you know. I'll keep you
Okay,
posted.
great. Hey, a lot is going on,
Yes.
including the first Friday of the first Fridays.
Yes, it's the first Friday of all Fridays.
You're right.
Yes, first Friday. This Friday.
Yes,
In
yes.
Downtown Spokane. Our friends at Downtown Spokane Partnership put this on once a month. And it's local businesses, wineries, breweries, restaurants, and art galleries downtown all sign on to feature a different local artist. And it's a wonderful way to get to know our local art scene and also support local businesses.
Right, right.
And you can find a complete map of all of the locations.
I've not had a chance to go yet, but I've heard from people who do, and they love it.
Yeah, it's
They look
fantastic.
forward to it.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great time if you want to take your family out for dinner and just pick one of those locations and you can look at the art and maybe you'll find something you want to buy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed that we're a town for local, fine, small business.
Yes.
We rated quite well this last year in Spokane, so let's
Yeah.
keep that up,
Let's
okay?
keep it rolling.
Because they're the folks that support the baseball teams and the
Mhm.
soccer teams and everything else here in town. And I can tell you, the small businesses are the heart and soul of really what we are here in
They are.
the Inland Northwest.
They make up our fabric and then
Yeah.
the arts.
Yeah. There's
are the
something going
cherry.
on Friday, too.
Yes.
In addition to the first Friday, it is also a Chiefs game.
Yeah, I threw the Chiefs in here because, it's a quiet time and it's a wonderful family event.
Yes.
And I think it's still pretty affordable.
Yes.
Tickets for a kid are $11.
Oh,
Adults
wow.
are
Okay.
$18. So it's a relatively cheap night.
Right.
I guess it depends
If
on
you
your
can keep them
perspective,
away from
but-
the snack folks
Exactly,
and all
that's
of
where it starts
that,
to get
right?
expensive,
And,
but-
and dad away from the beer and so forth. But yes.
Yeah, but the snacks and the beer are the fun part.
Well, I know. And just happens to be a game going on.
I know.
Yeah.
But we're so lucky to have the Chiefs. They've been
Yes.
playing in Spokane for, I think, 60 years now. And they'll be playing Everett on Friday night and before they hit the road for another road trip. And I thought it would be a fun family event Friday night. Low
Yes.
key.
Low key. All
After a
right.
busy holiday season. Go
No
see the
kidding. No
Chiefs.
kidding. And for restaurants and so forth, between the first Friday and the Chiefs game and everything
Mm-hmm.
else, for restaurants, January traditionally is a slower month.
It is.
So let's encourage all of January, not just on these dates, but on all of January, to go out to that mom and pop local. It might be Spanish, it might be Mexican, it might be who knows. Try something hot so you have to go home and drink cream, whatever it takes. But it's a
Exactly.
time to test out some of our local
It is a quiet
fine
time.
restaurants.
Yes.
We really do have
We're
some.
very lucky.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to try the new restaurant in Kendall Yards, Mole.
Okay.
Looks interesting. It's gotten
Yeah.
some good reviews. I'm excited about it.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes.
Okay.
Tradition.
Tradition. All right.
the best
When
of
does
what-
that start?
It starts January 11th, runs through the 16th. Tickets
Okay.
are still available. This is at First Interstate Center for the Arts, and it's Best of Broadway. And
That's a must see at
wonderful.
least once or twice in a lifetime.
My
It really
10-year-old
is.
daughter is obsessed with Fiddler on the Roof. So
And you won't go away without that music in your
I
your
know.
brain for the next week or two.
I know. They've been using the tradition song on the commercials, and it gets
Yes.
stuck in my head.
Yes. Well, because it's a tradition.
And the Matchmaker song also gets stuck in my head.
Okay, JoJo. Who is JoJo?
JoJo Siwa, and I fully expect you to be going to this concert.
Okay,
Just
this
kidding.
must be a group or somebody that's not my age, right?
JoJo Siwa is a Nickelodeon superstar.
Okay.
Also a YouTuber,
Yeah.
very big on social media. And she is a singer, and she is doing her concert January 13th at Spokane Arena. So the younger set are going to be
Yeah.
excited about this one.
So younger meaning more my grandchildren's
Yeah,
age.
yeah, probably the tweens
Yeah.
are probably going to be the most
Okay,
excited about
I've got
JoJo Siwa.
twins that are turning 13 here in another couple months.
They might be interested.
They might
Yeah,
still, yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, so she'll be here.
Polly Shore.
Oh, yes. I recall Pauly Shore from my teenage years when he was in Encino
Yeah, I'd be a
Man.
little older
Quite
than you,
classic
but
movies.
yes, I remember Polly Shore. So what's he going to do? A few jokes here and there?
Well, he'll be at the Spokane Comedy Club the
Okay.
14th and 15th. And it's not a traditional stand-up routine. It's called Stick with the Dancing, Funny Stories from My Childhood. And Pauly Shore grew up, his mother, I think, founded and owned and ran the Comedy Store in L.A.
Okay.
And he grew up surrounded by
Oh
some
my
of
gosh.
the greatest comedians of all time.
Oh,
So
what a
it's
great
all-
learning
they're
experience
Stories
to just
about
to
his childhood.
suck all that in life.
Yeah, I
I
can't
bet
even
he's got some
imagine.
stories to
Yes.
tell too, huh?
Lots of stories. So
Okay.
he'll be telling them at the Spokane Comedy Club.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that's wonderful.
I'm going to say it because I do it every time. It's an A-class comedy store.
It is.
Across the country. We're A level in
We are.
terms of the top comics come to Spokane. So
Yeah,
looking
there's
forward to
some good ones coming in the month of January. I just picked out Polly.
Okay.
Because,
but some other,
Encino Man,
but there's a place they can find out all of this
yes.
information, and that would be
visit Spokane.com.
okay.
Or you could go to the Spokane Comedy Club.
Right.
You know,
But you can get there from your site
yes.
too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's one page shopping kind of thing. You can just go and
Right.
find what you want.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, if you're an RV person, and a lot of folks getting older
Right.
are looking at RVs.
Well, and I have found that the RVs and road trips are also appealing to the younger set.
Yes.
And road trips are hot right now because of COVID.
Yes.
People want the open air, the open road.
But they can
so-
stick to the family
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yes.
Yep. Keep your bubble
Yeah.
going. But January 13th through the 16th is a national RV show at the Spokane Convention Center.
Okay, right downtown.
Yep. And the
Okay.
great thing is this year it's free.
Oh, I
take your
love that
kids and head
price.
on down.
Oh, that's a great. Go down for the day or so and spend the time.
Kill some time.
Family as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking to take your family, they want to check out their bunks and
I know.
other kinds of things.
I kind of like going to those kinds of things because they're fun to look at. The $500,000 RV.
And
that
then
you
your
could,
price is
you
walk.
know.
If your husband's looking around, the price as you're looking, right? Come on, dear, let's go over here.
It's incredible that most of those RVs probably cost more than my home. So
Yeah,
it's nice to look and
right.
look at all the fancy toys.
A lot of folks that I know that are my age, meaning they have, quote, retired, live and travel, and they go to where the sun is during the wintertime and so forth, and absolutely taking advantage of visiting old friends and family and everything else. But as you said, younger people too. I know several young people that are taking their families on weekends.
Hashtag van life.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. National Geographic Live: The Secret Life of Bears.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
They're
Hidden
back.
camera
I'm so
kinds
glad.
of things.
What's that?
Hidden camera.
Well, it's a Dr. Ray Wynn Grant, who is an ecologist.
Okay.
She will be doing a talk about her study
Okay.
of bears.
Oh, okay.
And this is January 26th, excuse me,
26th.
at Martin Woldson Theater at the Fox. So
Okay.
it's part of the National Geographic series, which is finally back after a hiatus
Yes.
due to COVID. So I'm glad to see it's back.
Oh, I love their programs.
I know they're
Great programs.
fantastic. So yeah, she has an interesting story. She went to Kenya for the first time at age 20 to study lions, and she had never camped. She didn't know how to backpack. She was not an outdoorsy person, so she has obviously learned.
You're telling the truth now. You're not lying, are you?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Okay. Had to
I
do
can't
one.
bear it.
Well, let's claw ourselves to the next.
Oh boy.
Really bad. Hinder.
Yeah, Hinder's a band.
What is Hinder?
A band.
A band.
And they
Oh,
will be
okay.
here January 27th, and they're doing a concert at Northern Quest Resort and Casino.
Okay, I'm going to assume inside.
Yes.
Okay.
This will be in their Ponderay Pavilion,
Okay.
which is inside, and they became huge in the early 2000s, 2006.
Okay.
With their Lips of an Angel song. So they'll
Oh,
be
okay.
playing that and many more of their material at the casino.
I think I need to get out more often.
Yeah, you need to do the JoJo Siwa, Hinder.
Yes.
Go
Yes.
see some bears.
Yes. Some of these I need to take the grandkids to be able to be let in, though, probably too. Yeah. Okay. And finally,
Yes.
the Spokane Symphony.
Yeah.
Pops 2.
It's
What is
their-
Pops 2?
They have a series called the Pops series, and the first one was last month
Okay.
with the Sweeplings, and this second
Oh, okay.
concert is with Pink Martini.
Okay.
So
And that's going to be at the
Fox Theater as well.
Fox Theater. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do tickets run? Do you remember?
$47 to $74.
Okay.
So it kind of depends. You can get military discounts, college discounts if you're a student. Yeah. So
Yeah.
not too shabby. And of course, the Fox Theater is a destination unto itself.
I was going to say, what a great place. Good to see that we're using it again.
Yeah, and they do tours. If you're interested in just touring the theater, you can go to their website and sign up for one of their tours just to get the backstory and the history and information on the restoration.
Yes. Been around for a while and it's been through a couple renovations over the years. And the last one was about 10 years ago?
It's probably been about 10 years.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the timing. It might have been even a little longer than that.
Actually, it's probably been longer.
Yeah, probably 15.
Actually, I think, it's
15 or 20.
2002, maybe?
We're dating ourselves here, aren't we?
Maybe 20 years now.
All right.
So that's January 29th if you want to see Pink Martini. And Pink Martini is a Portland-based, beloved band. So.
All right. Where can we get all of this information and get links to all of this information?
Visit Spokane.com. Just click on the events tab. You will find it all there and links. And then we'll link you to the direct site for each of the different ones.
Well, thank you for longer,
Yes.
more pages than before we keep growing.
Yeah.
You think we're going to keep growing for February too?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And, for February, we have Inlander Restaurant Week coming up. Speaking of, helping out our restaurants and quiet time. And, so we've got things going on for February already.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You're
Kate
welcome.
Hudson. I remembered your name. Isn't that wonderful?
When you started to forget my name, I thought you were going to sneeze because you kind of looked at
Okay.
impulse.
Thanks for coming. Have a great New Year. Everybody,
you.
all of you have a great New Year too. We'll see you next time on the Pulse of Spokane.
Next, join us with me in my conversation with a couple of kids from Hope Coffee Roasters, a small subscription-based coffee startup run by students at the Hutton Settlement. Enjoy. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Spokane Talks. Today, we are out here for a special event at the Hope Coffee Roasters at the Hutton Settlement. I'm here with Parker, and we'll get to Roxanne in a little bit, but they've started a wonderful coffee roasting subscription-based company. HOPE, I know, is an acronym, Parker. Do you want to just talk about what that means a little bit?
Yeah. HOPE stands for Hutton Opportunities for Professional Exploration. So that's the acronym.
Any of those letters mean anything special to you? What's the business kind of mission, I guess, with the acronym?
Yeah. So HOPE, there's really three main things for it. Provide kids with the opportunities for a career and technical education here at the Hutton Settlement. Two, provide cultural awareness through coffee farmers across the world. And then three, have a sustainable funding for the educational programs here. So HOPE is just the opportunities that the kids have to be able to go explore and stuff like that.
And I understand that it's pretty much student run at this point. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, what you guys do behind the scenes to make this whole operation kind of work?
Yeah. And so what we have here is a subscription service. So me and Roxy, the other person part of this, and then David as well, he's the campus director here. We roast coffee every Sunday, and then we roast about 100 pounds, and then our subscribers will receive all the coffee on about Wednesday. So it's 3 days old, super fresh, high quality. We get trained under Steve Diedrich, the founder of the Diedrich Coffee Roaster, which is insane. He's like a coffee guru. And so the coffee that you receive is going to be top notch.
Nice. And it's kind of an interesting sort of business model. You're not having people come in here and be served like a cup of coffee. It's not like that. You want to explain how the subscription service works and how it's different from any other coffee shop you would kind of go to normally?
Yeah. Since we're at a children's home, we can't really have customers coming on campus all the time. And so this just provides an opportunity where customers can come on campus if they are a subscriber. In the subscription, you get 4 bags a month, 2 bags every other week. And then there's 2 opportunities twice throughout your 6-month long subscription where you can come out to campus, cup coffee, see the production and see how we do things over here. So yeah, I think it's an opportunity that that people in the neighborhood or like the community can get to be a part of Hutton Settlement.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of nice because you're getting people in here every like on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So you kind of form relationships with people, and then they get acquainted to the Hutton Settlement, which I will talk about that now, I think, because I don't think everybody's familiar with what the Hutton Settlement is. I myself was not acquainted with it coming out here. It was kind of a foggy drive, and I didn't really understand where we were going. I was a little confused until we got here because it's kind of out of the way a little bit of Spokane. Do you kind of want to talk about the Hutton Settlement, and for those people who don't really understand what it is?
Yeah, Hutton Settlement is a home for kids at risk, or for me is just a home for me to be able to go to school, get opportunities that I wouldn't have if I wasn't here. I think it's a really great thing. And then there's also like educational pieces like the coffee production. There's the agriculture groups, focus on like agroforestry, just like a whole bunch of opportunities where kids can get involved and be a part of the community. And so, yeah.
So kind of what I'm understanding is it's a big community involvement, and it's a bit different than like say a public school or something. It's a lot more hands-on. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, so we go to public school, but then Hutton teaches us things that the school wouldn't teach us. Like I want to be able to get this experience of like running a whole business, creating a business plan with a government agency, which is pretty insane. Like all these opportunities that I wouldn't be able to get at school.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly something that I wish that I had during school, because I mean my experience, I went to high school and that was great and all, but I just kind of learned like math and English and everything. But these are really applicable skills that people are getting and that they wouldn't otherwise get. One very, very important question. What is your favorite cup of coffee that Hope roasts?
Oh yeah, I like our dark roasted Guatemala, probably is my favorite. It's got good chocolate tones, cherry as well. And then I also like our Sumatra, which is our medium roasted.
Awesome. Well, you'll probably have to send me home with a bag of that or something, because I'm not like the biggest coffee head, but I'll drink anything for sure. But thank you for sitting down with me. We'll move on to Roxanne now, but thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back with Roxanne in just a second. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Spokane Talks. We are having a great conversation out here. I just had one with Parker out at Hope Coffee Roasters at the Hutton Settlement, and now we're here with Roxanne to talk a little bit more about it. So I understand you've been here for 11 years at Hutton. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience here?
Yeah, so when I first came to Hutton, I was coming from a really broken family, and Hutton has just really given me the opportunity to kind of be myself and really brought out the parts of me that I didn't even think I could find. So I think that this opportunity is a really great one, and I'm glad that it came around.
Yeah, it sounds like whether personally or like just providing some stability, a lot of people have gotten kind of what they needed out of Hutton that the public school necessarily doesn't offer. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, definitely brings opportunities you wouldn't normally get. Like, I don't think anywhere else I couldn't think of.
For sure, a lot more like business and things like that,
Yeah.
more practical skills. Great, well let's get into some of the coffee. I know you're excited to talk about that. So you want to just talk about the process, the roasting process, and then more of the business side and everything, because I don't know how everything goes, and I'd love it if you explained it to everybody.
Yeah, so basically Parker came up with this idea of like starting this whole business, and he was like, oh, Roxy, you want to be a part of this? And I was a part of the agroforestry group, and it's kind of like incorporates that a little bit because it's the global awareness piece, which is one of our core values. And so after we did all that, we got a grant from the Hagen Foundation, and which actually paid for that roaster, which was very grateful of them. I think that once like we started this business, we didn't really even know what we were doing. We were just like, oh, let's get some classes, but we didn't know what we were doing. So actually Steve Diedrich, sort of a global icon for coffee, he came in one day and he was just like, oh, let's get some coffee. Like he didn't know about this place, and he kind of like heard about it, and he actually has trained us and really showed us how to roast coffee and kind of like learned about the process of growing coffee and the process of it, as well as how to get a really good cup of coffee.
Yeah, yeah. What is the, because you guys have been talking about, both of you now, this Steve Diedrich, how has he kind of been an asset for you guys in doing this? I know you've talked about it a little bit, but more in depth.
So yeah, he just came in one day and he started teaching us kind of like the process of like how coffee's grown. And so it actually starts as like a cherry. I don't know if many people know. And inside is like the actual bean itself. Mm-hmm. And it goes through this fermentation process where like it gets fermented, and it's like months before you even get it as a green coffee. And then we get this as green coffee, and you roast it. You roast it, and then that's how you get different flavors. Like from different origins of coffee, you can get different flavors. Like for example, Costa Rica, you're going to get more of a bright acidity, like cherry. And then Guatemala, you're going to get more chocolate notes. But it's just where the coffee's grown, it's going to give you a different flavor, even if it's like the same type of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So that's kind of, you want to talk a little bit more about the journey of like, I guess, bean or whatever and growing to like the actual roasting and then making some cups of coffee, but kind of like packaging and everything more for your subscribers?
Yeah, so basically we go by the rule of 15. So the coffee green is only good for about 15 months before it's not considered specialty coffee. So it needs to be roasted within that time period for the most flavor to come out of it. And then for roasted coffee, it's about 15 days. And then for ground coffee, it's actually about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's how we grade it by like freshness.
Okay.
And then, so some people do like still want their coffee ground, but it's still fresher than you're gonna get anywhere else. So we usually give them 2 bags every 2 weeks instead of doing 4 bags at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
So that it gives you 2 weeks to drink coffee, and then you get a new 2 weeks because we guarantee freshness.
Yeah, it sounds like freshness and quality is kind of what you guys are emphasizing out here. And I think it's a really cool, interesting business model, not something that I've seen a lot. And do you kind of want to tell me about how the pandemic has sort of affected it? Because I know you guys pretty much started like in the middle of it or kind of on the back end of it, how that's affected your business.
Actually, the pandemic is what started it, which, I mean, interestingly enough, because, I mean, we took it as an opportunity to kind of take advantage of the time that we had to create something instead of being like what everybody else would kind of want to do, sit on the couch, watch TV. You know, we kind of wanted to take this as an opportunity, and I think that this probably would not have happened if we did not have the pandemic.
I think it totally makes sense. I mean, coming out here just like to grab something really quick and then going back and being able to do it at home. I think that's really great. Is there a good way for us to get plugged in if we want to subscribe to Hope and start getting...
So we're actually opening a new subscription in January. So you can visit us at www.huttonsettlement.org and click on the About Us page, and it should be Hope Roasters, and you can get your fresh coffee.
Great. And it should be like right here or something at some point on the screen. But thank you for sitting down with me, you and Parker both. I really appreciate your time. And it's been really cool to learn about Hope and also the Hutton Settlement and what you guys do. And it's a really good thing. And I hope the rest of the, I guess, pandemic, but the rest of time, however long this is going, treats you well. So thank you for everyone listening out at Spokane Talks. I appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe, and goodbye for now.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
I was selling drugs. I was in and out of prisons. I didn't know how to read or write. I couldn't even read the sign at UGM that said, "Hope starts here." Union Gospel Mission taught me to trust people. I have a job from learning to read. I never thought that I would find a community that would support me like UGM does. I am so grateful to God. Real change is possible. Union Gospel Mission.
Starting a digging project? Before you reach for the shovel, you must click callbeforeyoudig.org, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. Protect our buried utilities and click callbeforeyoudig.org.
Now, join us with Sulani from Forthright as she talks about COVID, headlines, and fact-checking. Enjoy.
Welcome to Forthright, Reader Feedback Edition. I'm Sulani Madsen. Instead of a traditional wrap-up-the-year column, my last column of 2021 took a look at dropping trust in media, how headlines spin the news, and why we all need to be our own fact-checkers looking for missing context. And the result was this column. What's missing from this picture? Published December 30, 2021 in the Spokesman Review. Public trust in mass media has been dropping for 25 years and is at the second lowest level ever, right behind 2016. Distrust among self-identified Republicans, according to Gallup, has stayed flat from 2020 levels, while trust among Democrats and independents has dropped 5 points. It's one of many troublesome trends for regional newspapers like the Spokesman Review, just as much as for the Washington Post, CNN, and Fox News networks of the world. Confidence shrinks every time a story is perceived as missing context or missing information. But every story will always be missing some context and can't possibly include all relevant information. Deciding what to include and what to leave out is like packing a carry-on suitcase and making the judgment call on whether you'll really need that extra sweater. Given the near zero and sub-zero temperatures this week, holiday visitors from Arizona may have wished they brought that sweater. Judgment calls on which information to include or exclude affects both opinion columns and straight reporting. Tuesday's Spokesman Review included a story with useful advice on keeping your car running in the cold. An expert mechanic was quoted recommending warming up your car for about 15 minutes before starting your travels, both for smoother engine operation and a more alert driver. But the advice was missing a relevant warning. In this state, leaving your car running in the driveway for 15 minutes while you go back inside to fetch a hot cup of coffee is a violation of RCW 4661-600, although the likelihood of a citation is minimal. Presumably, readers will know if they are in a neighborhood where car theft is a hazard and decide appropriately. And a headline reading, "How to Keep Your Car Running Despite Frigid Weather," accurately describes the focused content. But too often, headlines may spin a story in a direction contrary to the content. In my opinion, and this is clearly labeled an opinion column, Wednesday's Spokesman Review front page headline reading, "Washington reports record number of daily COVID-19 cases," with the deckhead below saying, 6,235 tops previous day ceiling by over 700, says Department of Health, was an example of critical missing context. There's no reason to doubt the numbers. In my experience, editors are very careful about numbers, names, titles, and other quite objective facts. It's the implication that these numbers are somehow both meaningful and alarming. Counting cases without context is a useless statistic. Are there more cases identified because more people are testing? Have we really identified all the cases when test kits have been scarce? Do we know anything about the rate among those who are reluctant to test because they just don't want the hassle of potentially being forced to quarantine when they have no symptoms and have work to be done? None of those questions can be answered without a testing protocol using a representative cross-section of the population, both symptomatic and asymptomatic. And while 6,235 cases identified in one day in the state of Washington sounds like a big number, it means a mere 0.08% of the total population tested positive for COVID-19. And being able to calculate a percentage rate down to 2 decimal places still doesn't put it in context, as this new seasonal virus moves through different regions at different times. Are we doing better or worse than other places at the same stage? Can't tell from these numbers. But compared to the U.S. Navy warship, where a third of a young, healthy, and 98% vaccinated crew tested positive, 0.08% sounds positively miraculous. It reminds me of a lesson drilled into us at Public Information Officer training for fire districts. When reporters show up at the scene of an emergency, give them numbers and a place to take pictures of big red trucks with flashing lights. Responding to the scene were 24 firefighters and 12 trucks from 3 districts across 2 counties and 1 partridge in a pear tree, says the PIO confidently. Numbers alone don't tell you if that was too few personnel, the right trucks for the job, or whether there should have been more partridges or pear trees. Authoritative sounding numbers without context are the source of misinformation and misunderstanding. Whether your sources are mainstream news publications or videos circulating secretly on social media. And we can't rely on social media to fact check for us. Facebook is defending itself against a defamation lawsuit brought by journalist and commentator John Stossel by admitting their fact check labels are opinions. Facebook's own third-party reviewers have admitted Stossel's reporting was factually accurate, while also claiming they had no obligation to actually watch his videos before publicly labeling 2 of them as partly false and missing context. Facebook simply didn't like the tone he used. On the eve of 2022, it's tempting to tune it all out, but we need engaged citizens. Listen to a variety of sources and check the tone for yourself. Trust but verify. I've had too many people I know in the last few weeks say they've just tuned out the news completely because it's just too much, too hard to winnow out what's truth from fiction. But most of the feedback on this column was positive. From Jim, a usually feisty progressive correspondent, he says, "You pretty much nailed it today on the topic, context or lack thereof. That is a constant irritant to a rabid news consumer like me. The temptation to affirmation bias is so strong in most readers, myself sometimes included, that the subtle, sometimes even inadvertent omission of important context can lead us to unsupportable conclusions on important issues." And from Dr. J, a regular fan of the column and reader of the Spokesman Review, who agreed with the problem of missing context but wanted to go further, saying, "Good shot but not a bullseye," Dr. J says, "The public's lack of confidence in the Fourth Estate revolves around its woke vision of itself as change agents or kingmakers. This is most evident by the leanings of guest columnists and media sources, and even trickles down to choice of comics. Hearing from divergent points of view is healthy and needed, and he has complaints about a couple of columnists and a comics. Do we have enough credible column writers nationwide to choose a different one each week over the course of a year?" So he's looking for more diversity, more opinions, more different points of view. And Dr. J may be right about the Fourth Estate having an agenda, although I tend to think it's more of an unconscious representation of bias, combined with a tendency for any group of professionals to see themselves as more important than they are. Architects, for example, can get all worked up about how design will change the world, solve society's problems, create utopia if we just have the right built environment, when most clients are just hoping the roof doesn't leak. I predict that pointing out media bias will be a recurring theme in columns in 2022. From Terry and Debbie, who are looking for unfiltered journalism and sources that do not skew biased, they said, "It seems the latest surveys out there support the continued mistrust among the public and declining numbers in either viewing or reading anything of the media, and I'm about there myself." But we still need your reading, Terry and Debbie. And then there was this angry sounding email from Phil, who wanted to know if my analysis included, and he lists a bunch of far right sources, or just what you conservatives refer to as lamestream media. Republican voters, he says, Republican voters may be suspicious of what they read in the Spokesman Review, but liberals and progressives are getting pretty fed up with the lies and misinformation coming out of right-wing news outlets. You always refer to the anger expressed by conservatives on the right, but you need to get ready for a lot of the increasing rage I see in people who consider themselves progressives or liberals. Well, I never use silly terms like lamestream media. And I think I made it pretty clear in referencing Washington Post, CNN, and Fox News that my criticism extends to media across the bias spectrum. But I told him that his email was an example of why we seriously need to focus on relearning how to disagree agreeably. And I told him spiraling rage is not a recipe for a happy new year. Well, Phil wrote back, continued the dialogue, complaining, my tone has been sharpened by numerous conversations with conservatives in which I have been referred to as a libtard, socialist, and snowflake. Although I am a Vietnam veteran, my patriotism has also been questioned. I have long since ceased to argue or discuss politics with conservatives, given the level of anger and vituperativeness I have encountered. I often read analysis from people who are described as liberals, imploring me to make efforts to try to understand the positions of conservatives and to reach out to them. I have yet to read a similar plea from a conservative journalist. So I responded to him and said, I'm pretty sure being called a racist, Nazi, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, Trump's libtard, socialist snowflake in the name-calling category, but whatever. But here's that plea you were looking for from a conservative journalist. Name-calling is lazy language. You're letting somebody else manipulate your reaction, plus it never persuades. The first rule of any engagement in debate or politics is to understand your opponent's position as well or better than your own. Conservatives, we have good messages resting on solid principles. Let logic and data speak for themselves to draw in independent voters. Take the time to reach out and listen to liberals and progressives. And there is no better forum for reaching out to seek to understand others and perhaps find some common ground in the process than Braver Angels. Check out upcoming events at braverangelswa.org, and I hope to see you there. We need more conservatives engaged in the debate. I hope that satisfies your request for a plea to conservatives to listen, Bill. Thank you for joining me on this Forthright, and hope to see you on a future broadcast.
Spokane Realtors are dedicated to helping you find the right place to live. We're more than 2,000 strong, small business men and women guiding you through this most important purchase. We're also your neighbors, giving back thousands in volunteer hours to make our community a better place. We believe owning a home helps you live longer, with stronger families and better neighborhoods. That's who we are, ready to help you find your way home. Call one today.
Finally, join us for a clip from the locker room with Andrew and Justin, where they talk all things sports. Take a look.
Don't worry, Sun Bowl was played on New Year's Day. They got stomped. And then they ended up making a comeback. But, yeah, no, I agree. Seattle is in a spot this offseason. So, and I didn't tweet this because I wasn't sure what the final MRI results would be. But Bobby Wagner may be added to the list of dominant Seattle defenders who have to leave their final game as a Seahawk due to injury. Cam, Earl, Cliff, Michael Bennett, sort of. He was kind of hobbled. He didn't really play.
Richard. Right?
Sherman. Yep, yeah. Sherman was up there. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of guys who have, and it's a violent game. And Bobby plays the game very violently. He was the last guy who.
You could tell too. Did you watch what happened to him on the play live?
Oh,
I saw it as
ugly,
it happened.
Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of thought it was going to be a groin thing. The way
so
that
he
did the
stretched.
switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I guess it's a sprained knee as his MCL, or not his MCL. It's a sprained kneecap essentially, like the muscles or ligaments underneath his kneecap are sprained or strained. I don't know, depending on what exactly it is. But not sure if he's going to play this weekend. He has no guaranteed money on his deal next year. He's a cap hit of $20 million, which is 9% of the cap. And I don't know if that's 9% of the current cap or that's looking forward 9% of the cap that's moving up by 20 million. I think it's 20 or 40. It might be 40 million. Anyway, whatever the cap's going to be, it's going to be a lot larger than it is this year. Cody Barton played pretty well yesterday. Again, it's the Lions. You have to take essentially.
I was going to say Cody Barton looks good against bad teams at least.
Right.
I've seen him look really bad against good teams.
I think Jordan Brooks is a starter in this league. Mm-hmm. I think he makes enough plays that he's a starter.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby, I almost feel like you look at re-signing him, you restructure his deal. I think he's at a point in his career where he would restructure his contract to get guarantees by bringing down his cap number and by bringing down his overall salary.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be. What? Well, he was drafted with Wilson. He's going to be 34-ish, right? 33?
Jeez.
He has to be.
I guess. I think he was
He'll
younger
be
than
33.
Russell, though. Yeah, okay.
He'll be 33 this summer. He was younger because Wilson was a senior coming out. So you bring him back if you can restructure his contract. I don't think you bring him back on his current deal. Thoughts?
The thing, this is also difficult. I'm pulled in a lot of ways as it pertains to Bobby, not so much Russell, but I don't want to put Bobby through another year like this, and especially as, his prime is essentially ended. Like, he's still playing like the best linebacker, but
He
like
still plays at a very high level.
He really does, but relative to what he was, in his peak
and his actual prime.
Right. He's not that guy anymore, but he's still one of the best linebackers in the league, and I kind of want him to have a KJ Wright opportunity. Obviously, he's not going to spend any time not on a team. Like, whether he's with us or we trade him, he's not going to be looking for a squad.
It's not going to be like KJ Wright where you took a long time for him to find a job.
Right. But I don't know. I would really enjoy seeing Bobby end up with a contender and, being a solidifying factor for a defense. And off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody, that's a contender right now that needs like a middle linebacker. But a lot of teams I know could use him, and I would I'd be very okay with seeing that for him. And my heart just broke for that kid all year, especially before the defense kind of, pivoted and started turning things around. It's just like, oh man, I can't imagine what, just getting up every day was like
kind
for
of
him.
right. Just kind of looking at KJ Wright's numbers this year. So he played, he hasn't played very much.
I was going to say he's had very limited snaps.
He only has approximately 50 tackles, maybe probably closer to 40. He did play 100% of the snaps a couple weeks ago. The game yesterday, he played 46% of the snaps and only had 2 tackles. Last week, he played 31% and had no stats. That's just weird. Because he played really well last year, so I'm kind of surprised that he's not doing kind of a little bit better in the opportunities. He played 100% of the snaps and had only, I guess he had 8 tackles. That was his best game of the year against Cleveland where they won. It just seems weird for KJ, but I just wanted to bring that up. So back to other Seahawks stuff. We kind of mentioned some of the free agents, but Dwayne Brown's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you bring him back? Let me give you 2 things. Do you bring him back on his terms, or do you bring him back on Seattle's terms, or do you not bring him back at all?
I don't think I think you move on.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to be contending for anything for the next few years, and I don't see what the reason of bringing him back
So
is.
you don't think...
I would rather develop someone like Stone Forsythe if that is going to be the next guy that's in line to try to take over that left tackle job. Unless we get a left-handed quarterback, then it's all on Jay Kern.
Then it's on back on
also,
Jay
okay,
Kern.
so if we trade Russell Wilson for Derek Carr, just hypothetically, does that make us any worse?
I think it would if you don't upgrade everything else. Russell Wilson covers up a lot of...
Think about what Derek Carr's working with. His best weapon is Waller, who hasn't played a lot this year, and Hunter Renfrow, and
Renfro's done very well this year.
No, he hasn't done very well, but he's
another one of those small white receivers, so I don't respect him.
Knowing everything about you, I can't believe that that's how you feel about small white receivers.
It's just I don't like them. I don't like small white running backs. I just, for whatever reason, I think because they look like they shouldn't be there. Really though, right? Like you look at big offensive linemen, you're like, you belong in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or you look at quarterbacks. It's like you belong there because you're supposed to be kind of a dweeb. Like running backs and wide receivers are supposed to be skilled. Like Adam Thielen looks like a wide receiver.
What?
Like Adam Thielen looks like he should be a wide receiver.
You mean physically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Based on physical appearance alone.
Mm-hmm. But doesn't it make it that much more impressive and respectable that they are?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Anyway, someone threw that trade out, and I was like, you know what? Not against it.
Derek Carr cried on the field in England when the Seahawks sacked him.
I respect Derek Carr a hell of a lot more than I respect Russell Wilson.
Has Russell Wilson ever cried due to a sack?
Not until the offseason.
Sort of fair, but no tears were shed. publicly. He may have been crying in Sierra's arms, but not publicly. All right, we got a question. Russell Wilson is why Tyler Lockett works.
That is fair.
True.
Yeah.
And that keeps DK available too. Derek Carr probably wouldn't keep Tyler Lockett as available as Russell does. That's very true. And Tyler Lockett is in Seattle for the long term with his contract situation. I would agree with that. I think Tyler Lockett, as well as Doug Baldwin, were both made better by Russell Wilson's antics.
Well, okay. So I agree with the Lockett part. Their chemistry, it is what it is. It's unique.
Yeah.
However, I do think that there are other quarterbacks out there that would get more out of DK in the way that we could use him.
Well,
it was kind of like my theory back when Geno Smith, looked like, oh, okay, maybe we could do this for a few weeks.
Right.
And we saw that pretty much play out. It was DK Metcalf that was targeted a lot more than Tyler. Tyler fell off the face of the earth. So, if we get a taller quarterback, DK is going to be better.
The thing with
someone
DK,
that can throw over the middle of the field.
Well, so they were bringing up good points. Someone has been saying that the reason why Russell Wilson doesn't throw over the middle nearly as often is because Pete Carroll has instilled him that that's the most dangerous part of the field to throw the football to, which is true. It would make logical sense that Pete's like, I want to stay outside the numbers because then you're dealing with a lot more one-on-ones. The chances of a guy intercepting a ball one-on-one is way less than throwing it over the middle of the field where you're throwing it within 5 different guys. So maybe that's where the philosophy needs to change because you look at what happened here against the Lions. Wilson attacked the middle of the field pretty darn consistently all across the board. Have it be DK, have it be Gerald Everett, have it be our boy Uncle Will. I mean, there's a lot of different things. Perfect example, white tight ends. They look like they should be in the NFL. Jacob Hollister didn't really enjoy because he was a small white tight end. He didn't look like he deserved to be there. Just the way it is. So, anyway, back to what my point here. I think Russell Wilson and DK have that chemistry. It was just a matter of, first off, Wilson couldn't make those throws because of his finger. And you can't tell me it wasn't his finger because he was missing throws, and he's still occasionally not nearly as much. He's still missing throws that he never missed before. And I'm going to side on the side that he has not forgotten how to play football. There's just no way that a guy, because again, at the beginning of the year, he was on a torrid pace that we talked about last week. Derek Carr wouldn't be the worst, but I still don't think I'd love that. It would have to be a pretty decent trade package.
I think we should trade for Minshew. You want to talk about let's get crazy? Let's get crazy.
The problem with Minshew, though, is he doesn't fit the style of what Seattle wants to do. He doesn't.
That's okay because we can change that style. I have no problems with it.
Not if Pete's still there. All right, right now, does Pete stay? Not if you want him to. What do you think it will actually happen? Let's start at the top. Does Allen and Vulcan stay as ownership?
I think so.
John Schneider, does he stay or go?
I think he stays.
Pete Carroll.
God.
What you actually think will happen, not what you want to happen.
I think he's probably back.
Russell Wilson.
I think he's gone. I do think he's the least likely of the three to be back.
Okay. I think
and
that's...
also... with Schefter coming out, as you were alluding to earlier, like the league-wide sense that he wants to be gone, somebody from Russell Wilson's circle or camp
I think
definitely...
I think it's his agent because his agent is a baseball agent, and that's what guys in baseball do. That's a baseball agent move, is to request trades and to point out teams that would be interested in going to. That's a baseball agent move through and through. And this guy, that's his only NFL client, and is Russell Wilson. And he's been Russell Wilson's agent for a long time. He came from a baseball mindset, and I think it's his agent through and through.
So you think that it's just because of his agent's background, and that's how he wields and deals as an agent? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that it doesn't actually have anything to do with Russell?
I think Wilson has mentioned some desires to him and said, hey, let's stir the pot. Not too much. I want to be separated from this. I want to still be able to come out and say, I want to be here. I hope to be here. But I want you to go out, and I want you to start putting bugs in executives' ears, the other agent, whatever you need to do to make the NFL world realize that I'm interested without directly being interested. It's a baseball move.
Okay. Regardless, you're also not taking into account the Sierra factor, which I will die on the hill that is bigger than
there's
a
some
lot of
there.
Because
there
is
what
something
Coward
there
said.
for sure.
That's what Coward said a couple years ago when the whole New York Giants rumor came up because Sierra wanted to go to a bigger market. And you look at some of the markets he said, you can see a little bit of that. He wants to go play for the Giants. Why?
Yeah,
it's literally just the
think
market.
You have it bad in Seattle.
Literally just the market there.
The Giants just had the worst week of any NFL team.
I know, and then Joe Judge is like, don't worry, but we know.
I'm getting calls from my exes.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Yo, not in Texas, but wish I were with you on the team." And yeah, no, that was
weird.
Awful.
It's weird right now over there in news. Nope, it's weird over there in New York. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if I had to go off my gut, ownership group stays. I think they all stay.
Wow.
But I will agree that Russell Wilson is the most likely to go if they get a competent starting quarterback coming back to Seattle, like Derek Carr. I think because they will not because and you go back to what Carroll said about he and Allen are on the same terms of we don't want to do a rebuild. And what's the best way to not rebuild but to restock and reshuffle? Then trade a starting quarterback for another starting quarterback, one of it which is way better, and you still get draft capital for this year's draft, next year's draft, future year's draft. Possible.
See, the thing is, I think we're actually in a position to where if we were able to trade Wilson, I think at this point his trade value is still high enough solely based on his resume. Not so much where he stands within, the 32 NFL starting quarterbacks at this point in his career. And so I think we could actually get a quarterback that's been playing essentially what Russell Wilson has been playing like for the past 2 seasons. So
potentially, yeah.
And picks. I just want picks. I want first round picks. I want some SEC players. I want some SEC guys in the trenches. I want to I guess Monet and Ford are pretty solid going forward.
Yep.
But still, you'd love to have depth there, and I'm not opposed to drafting, putting assets into a better offensive line. That's for sure.
Yep.
We need a center, for Christ's sakes. Creed Humphrey, we miss you, even though we never had you.
Literally anybody. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, I would agree. Cool. All right. Let's just move. So picks update. Right now, I'm up 4 or 5. We have to determine that. And I'll be up either 3, 4, or 6. 3 or 6.
Yes.
Depending on the results of tonight's game. You picked the Steelers. Wrong choice. That's fine.
It's Big Ben's last game.
Fine. All right, Jabronis, go ahead. What do you got for me? I wonder.
Oh, okay. Hold up. Okay.
Oh, so you've shown me a video.
There's really only one.
Can't see.
It's Antonio Brown.
Was this today?
That wasn't actually him, but
that's really funny though, because that's what you could imagine happened
100%.
Since he was already taking his clothes off.
Would you like to describe the video since we cannot actually play it?
It was a naked man running.
Naked black man. You have to make it realistic. It can't be just a white guy running around.
True. Yes. It was a naked man on a sidewalk running toward a car that was parked on the sidewalk, and then he lowers his shoulder like a real NFL caliber player, and just rams his shoulder right into the fender.
And he was not going slow.
He was going fast.
Yeah, he was cruising.
And he just bounced and spun off and probably dislocated his shoulder.
He attacked that car with some vigor.
Mm-hmm. It was hilarious. What did it say? It said
going home or something.
I look at Antonio Brown leaving the Jets stadium, and yep. So yeah.
So do you have
also when it happened? Did you realize that it wasn't pre-game? Because when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, okay, this happened in the pregame,
so
right before they went out for kickoff."
I knew that it happened during the game because I saw him put the spin cycle on a defensive back. So I knew it had to have happened during the game.
Because I didn't figure that out.
But I thought it was maybe halftime or something.
Yeah.
But the fact it was literally during the game, like the play clock was going down, he's walking
in the third quarter.
Yeah, and he's walking through the end zone. So essentially the background for any of you who hadn't seen it. We'll play the video here in a second, but happened in the third quarter. Bruce Arians, allegedly told Antonio Brown to go back in the game. He said no. He said go back into the game. Antonio Brown's like, not a chance. And Bruce Arians said get out. And he took that literally, and he got out of the stadium during the game. Like he literally he took his pads off, he took his shirt off, his gloves off, tossed it in the stands. left, and there's photos of him standing outside of the stadium waiting for a driver to come pick him up. There's video of him inside of that guy who definitely looks like he's on cocaine.
So on my way over, I was listening to Part of My Take, and Part of My Take got the driver on.
Oh my God.
And he was talking about how this guy's lost his goddamn mind because he's laughing and cheering as if he just scored 9 touchdowns in an NFL game. And he's like, do you know what? And he's like, yo, come pick me up. We're about to turn up.
Oh
and the guy's like, dude, what are you talking about?
Like, your game's
Anyway,
still going on.
The other weird wrinkle, it was, okay, so apparently Antonio's reasoning was that he was too injured to go back in the game. And then he proceeds to jog off the field, which, I mean, if you're injured, you can still jog, whatever. And then he starts jumping up and
jumping
down
jacks.
as high as he can, trying to pump up the crowd, which is, oh yeah, an away crowd. And
it worked. They got loud.
Did you see he tried to get in a state trooper car to take him to the airport?
That's pretty funny.
And they told him to get out of here. Yeah.
Like security was confused too. Like, should we stop this guy?
The second half of the jabroni, though, is everybody, all the blue check marks, everybody on Twitter that's like, oh, well, we shouldn't make fun of him because he has CTE. It's like, I know it's such a gray and nebulous topic these days, mental health,
right?
And CTE in the case of, athletes, in particular football players. So you don't want to cast too many harsh judgments because it can have an effect. However, I really do think whether he does have some form of it and it's contributing, he's been a narcissistic jackass his entire life. And I don't think it's that big of a deal to just call it like it is. If you want to blame it on CTE, so be it. But you at least have to recognize that he has been like this for the entirety of his career.
Yeah, but that hit that
Vontaze, sure.
That was wicked. Things went downhill from there.
I still think you got to hold individuals responsible for their actions to some extent, whether they have. I mean,
right. The only thing
the best
that
thing Vontaze ever did.
That, and I was talking with a buddy about this. If he was so aggressive in an awesome way until he did stuff like this, and it's like, dude.
Are you talking about Vontaze?
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're watching the hit right now, the playoff game in
God.
2015, and
I mean, just ends his life.
Yep, pretty much. Anyway.
So my thoughts real quick. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady both said empathy toward him, that they have no regrets. It's funny that people come out and they're like, why did they even take a chance on him? Well, first off, he got a touchdown in the Super Bowl last year. But also talent outweighs everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. If a guy isn't actively in prison, he's going to get a look if he can catch a football and run very fast.
Yeah, sorry.
It's just the way it is. It's literally just the way that it is. And I want Seattle to sign him. I still would have liked Seattle to sign him. I don't really care. If you can play football, you can play football. And I don't care. I don't believe in the idea that distractions are actually distractions. Antonio Brown isn't a distraction to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, aside from the fact that he won't be there now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only distraction that Antonio Brown ever did. Because the Bucs have been fine.
Not the way that organization and that locker room,
exactly.
and
if you can handle
their run,
right. Seattle, it's not a distraction. It's just the way that it is. It's the culture. It's the locker room. If they can actually fully absorb it and handle it. Go ahead and play that video real quick, Sam.
O.J. Howard trying to convince him to keep them on. Obviously, they were unable to do so. He tossed his shoulder pads, stripped off his shirt and glove, threw those into the crowd, then ran across the field while the teams were still on the field, giving the crowd a peace out sign. I'll let you know when we hear something official on his status.
Thank you, Jen. It may be an Antonio Brown out. Now, watching the behavior, unusual behavior.
The locker room, don't bring any more attention.
Described that he was angry. Somebody tried to calm him down. I think it was Mike Evans.
Women's basketball team. Would you like to know why?
I would love to know why.
And actually, you will appreciate this.
All right.
The Cardinal are 71-0 all-time against the WSU women's basketball team.
That's pretty.
They have never lost since their first meeting in 1983.
Sounds about right.
That's horrible. WSU, the women's team is actually decent this year, and they still lost 82-44. So that's my jabroni. Just beat the team. You played them. I don't understand. They've never, ever beaten Stanford since they first met.
Fear the tree.
And my actual jabroni are people. Go ahead and put up this photo of Messi real quick. And I'll give a little bit of the backstory here. So it was holiday break. Messi went home to Argentina. He went out to a club, including one at which DJ Fair Palicio, not Policio, Policio, was playing as a DJ. I guess a few days before that, he attended several parties, this is the DJ, who were tested and confirmed to have positive cases. Messi gets back to Paris Saint-Germain in France, and he has COVID now, and he's on the COVID list. So there are people, fans, going into this DJ's mentions on Instagram and social media, sending him death threats for giving Lionel Messi COVID. The guy, obviously terrified over the death threats, had tested negative for COVID, put it on social media and said, "See, it's not me. Please don't kill me and my family." So the jabronis essentially are fans who send death threats to athletes. It just doesn't make any sense. My buddy Craig, actually, he needed Kamara to have a good game last week in order to advance to the finals of our fantasy football playoffs. And he needed Kamara to outscore Tua by 5 or something, and it didn't happen, of course. So he sent Ian Book a DM on Instagram, not threatening to kill him, but just saying how much he sucks and how much Notre Dame sucks, and that he should never play football again for as long as he lives. That's funny. If you do it that way, that's just good family fun. You just shouldn't send death threats. You're looking to start something. You're going to have a bad time with it. So essentially, Messi shouldn't have gone clubbing in the first place, but whatever. I don't care. It's a free. I was going to say it's a free country, but Argentina is not a free country, really. So that's the way that it is. All right, this day in sports history. I've actually got a couple interesting ones here. This day in 1920, the Red Sox owner Harry Frazee announced an agreement to sell Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for $125,000 in cash and a $350,000 loan. It was the beginning of the 84-year curse of the Bambino.
Yep.
Started this day 102 years ago. Wow. This day in 73, a 12-man syndicate led by Michael Burke and George Steinbrenner III buys the Yankees from CBS for $10 million. So first off, I didn't realize that CBS owned the Yankees.
Same.
And second off, they got absolutely hosed.
Yeah, they did.
$10 million, 1973. Let's see if I can find inflation, what that's worth today. So $10 million is about $60 million today. They got hosed. They still got hosed at $60 million. So that's pretty interesting. In 1993, the comeback happened. Quarterback Frank Reich led the Bills back from a 32-point deficit to defeat the Oilers 41-38 in overtime in a wild card playoff game, the greatest comeback ever in NFL history. And this day in 2007, Alabama's dynasty returns when Nick Saban resigns from the Miami Dolphin head coaching job and returns to college football to take the head coaching job at Alabama.
Wow.
And that began Alabama's reign. All right, closing time. Go ahead.
LeBron's back.
Love it.
Yeah, I know. It's been a few weeks. In classic LeBron fashion, I mean, this story and this idea of him playing with Bronny, that once Bronny gets to the NBA, if he even gets to the NBA, it's been out there for years, and that's not an exaggeration. I think it's been at least 2 years that the idea of this has been put out there. So the fact that he is now finally choosing to say something about it means that he felt currently in his life he wasn't getting enough attention, that sports fans were kind of looking elsewhere, maybe not the NBA because it's January, and maybe at college football in the NFL, but that's America. And so he just thought he'd throw that out there so that the Bleacher Reports, so that the Sports Centers, ESPNs, all those people could just absolutely stand march themselves. Yeah. And
it happened. It did.
This is just on LeBron topic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember that basketball team he coached a good number of years ago?
Say that again. I actually didn't hear.
Do you remember that basketball, like the AAU team he coached a good number of years ago?
Yeah.
I saw this video, like where some of those kids are now, because they're all, getting to the point where they're about to graduate a couple years away.
Yeah.
All have Duke offers, Kansas offers, huge offers. It was interesting, but a good number of them have very notable offers to come play for their school for basketball.
I mean, that's actually not surprising at all. I mean, you think LeBron's going to coach an AAU team that, is
one of them has an offer for both basketball and football from
classic Jalen Suggs moment.
Anthony Edwards, Well,
2 years ago.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, wow, I forgot that he did that. And they were all still
I also forgot
very
about
good.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Jalen Suggs announced his commitment to GU. He verbally committed.
you know, and he did everything, won a national championship, and we'll remember him for the rest of our lives.
Almost. Oh, I did forget to mention, GU's on a COVID pause still. Did you see their game on Thursday also was canceled or postponed against San Francisco? Super unfortunate because WCC actually might be semi-competitive, and they're missing out on these opportunities. But I guess they're going to be moving to 3-a-week schedules, like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday games.
Wow.
That's going to be a lot of basketball.
Man.
That's going to make them tired. All right, I forgot that Windermere Services Mountain West is also very, very good. We love to talk about them because they proudly service over 60 Windermere offices. 60 Windermere offices in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Eastern Oregon, and Montana. They are all in for their local communities. At Windermere Services Mountain West, relationships are the foundation of their business. Their mission is to be successful, team-oriented real estate professionals committed to exceeding expectations through exceptional customer service. They are Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West is committed to the communities in which they live and work. They are all in for us.
And they don't support meteorologists.
They also are anti-meteorologists, unless you're buying a house. Then they're pro-meteorologists.
That's a fact.
All right, my closing time here. Go ahead and put that photo up there, Samuel. That would be nice. So this was a Kraken versus the Vancouver Canucks game on October 23rd. And this was the guy there in the blue shirt is Brian Red Hamilton, and he is the assistant equipment manager for the Canucks. And he just happened to be working the bench, which isn't super common for assistant equipment managers. That lady behind him there in the blue with the blue hat is a med student. She's a Kraken fan, and she got his attention and went to her note app on her iPhone and texted, "The mole on the back of your neck is possibly cancerous. Please go see a doctor." And you can see him there giving her the thumbs up. It happens that that was a cancerous mole that was, let's see here. Yeah, it was malignant. It was a malignant melanoma. I mean, the cancer cells had not penetrated the second layer of skin, but would have been very bad had he not gotten them checked out. So essentially, Kraken and the Canucks came together, gave this med student a $10,000 scholarship to help with their schooling.
Go them.
That's pretty cool.
That's like
That's like a nice, like an actual feel-good story.
That's a really cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Like the best part about the story is neither one of us can like say that's stupid or like that's bad.
Like every bit of that story is wholesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Every second of that story, it's, hey, go get this checked out. Oh, I didn't even know that was there. Gets it checked out. Ends up being
not
that
that's
big
like
a deal.
a hallmark movie.
And then it's like, best part, the fact that they found her and were like, hey, thank you for this.
The best part is 2 days ago, Brian Hamilton came out and put a message out on the Canucks Twitter page and said, essentially, I'm trying to find you. I want to thank you. You're awesome. Everybody retweeted it. They found out who it was. And just so I can put her name out there, Nadia Popovici, 22-year-old graduate from UW and future med student. Yep.
You know she's throwing that on her resume when she goes to
Oh yeah, she's gonna go. She's gonna get into a lot of different places.
That is really cool though. That's a great story.
God, you're welcome. Look at me.
Look at you.
You came in weird this morning.
Yeah,
you're ending the day on a real wholesome note, which is a little strange for you.
It is. Yeah, you're welcome.
I like it.
Soul searching.
You're welcome. I have jury duty next week, so we might not be able to do this.
Dude, I was so thankful I got out of that because of COVID last year. It was awesome.
I was. Did you? Okay, we'll talk later. But yeah, I have COVID next week, so
you have COVID next. He's planning to get COVID next week. That's good to know.
Man,
you're out of it today.
I have jury duty next
week. We
just
just complimented him. We're just
I
like,
know.
hey,
no, I should have just stopped.
You really went one step too far.
Yep, that one is unfortunate. So
we'll not have a show next week because Jovin's gonna have the cocoa.
Yeah, potentially have jury duty. Depending on how long I have to be there. So we'll see. Hopefully, I get a cool case. Hopefully, it's a murder case.
Well, if it's a murder case, you could be gone for months.
I would love to send someone to prison for a long time.
I actually bet that would do great things for you.
I would feel so good.
No, I know that would.
That'd be a better story than this cancerous mole.
No,
it's a stretch.
Yep.
All right, there we go. So we'll see if we'll see you next week or not, but have a great rest of your week and enjoy the snow that's finally falling.
Yeah, except for meteorologists. We hope you have a bad week. But we hope you return to having normal weeks after that.
Exactly.
I think we should put together at some point all the people that
we've like disavowed
that you've offended. We got meteorologists, we got LeBron James.
If this show goes on long enough, it'll be everyone other than myself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
very true.
And I will be self-deprecating in that as well.
Exactly. All right. See you guys later.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from us. Tune in each Friday for more of The Pulse. We hope to see you soon, and until then, feel free to binge all of our content on YouTube or Facebook. Stay safe, and goodbye for now.